saw something today, nothing important, just a little cafe with yellow chairs outside. For some reason I thought you'd probably like this, then I kept walking. Later on, I found a song. I listened once, then once again I almost sent it. Then I thought, maybe I'll play it for you instead. The lift, it's strange, I don't look for things to tell you anymore. They just find me. Every day ends the same, with another story I saved for you. Most of them wouldn't matter to anyone else, they always matter to you. When I got home, I put my keys on the kitchen table, and I laughed. I forgot I'd already told you half of my day. On the walk back, there's still one thing I forgot to say. Maybe tomorrow. You were already there when I got in, looking through the window like you always do. I asked, have you ordered? You shook your head and smiled. We spent 10 minutes talking about a movie neither of us had actually seen, and somehow that turned into dinner plans for Friday. Lift, I don't think love happens all at once. I think it sounds more like this. Another ordinary night, another story. I remember not because something happened, because you were there the whole time. The whole time. When we stood up to leave, you left your scarf on the chair. I picked it up, you laughed and said I would have come back. I know. See you Friday. I picked up coffee on the way to meet you. It wasn't even that good. We laughed about it for a minute, then talked about something else I don't remember what it was. You stopped every time you saw a dog, like they were all old friends of yours. I never told you, but I started looking for them too. Lift, it's funny how love changes the way you notice the world. The best part of today wasn't where we went or what we did. It was hearing you laugh again, like the whole afternoon had been waiting for that sound. I walked you home. We stood outside, talking longer than we meant to. Then we both said, one more minute, 3 or 4 times before goodbye. I smiled the whole way home. You asked me how my day had been. I said pretty good. Then changed the subject like I always do. I never know where to start. We walked a while without a plan. You skipped a crack in the sidewalk. I noticed things I would have missed if I'd been there by myself. Lift, some thoughts don't sound right until they're said to you. I almost told you everything, the little moments in between, the ones that never make the headlines but somehow make up my life. Make up my life. I got home, made some tea, sat down for a minute, then caught myself smiling again at something you'd said hours before. I'll tell you tomorrow, I always do. I left the window open again. The night came in with the summer air. I should have closed it a while ago, but I was busy thinking of you. There was a song I wanted to send, I played it twice, then closed the app. Some things just sound a little better when they're waiting for tomorrow. If the funny thing is, nothing happened today. Still, I wanted to tell you everything. Before I fall asleep, you're the last thought that stays awake. Long after the room gets quiet, you're still here somehow. I wonder if you do this too. Reach for your phone, then stop halfway. Smile for no reason. Turn off the light and let the day become tomorrow. Good night. I'll tell you in the morning. You called right as I was leaving. I almost said I'll call you later, but I didn't. So we talked about nothing for 10 whole minutes. For 10 whole minutes. You told me about your morning. The coffee wasn't good. The bus was late. I smiled more than I spoke. I don't think you noticed the lift. I like hearing your voice even when there's nothing to say. You don't have to make my day, you already do, just by being the first person I wanna tell everything to. I got home a little after 6. The room was quiet. I put my keys down, then caught myself thinking I should tell you about today. I almost reached for my phone again. You never ask if something's wrong, you just sit down a little closer. The room gets quiet in the nicest way, like it knows we're both alright. I tell you things that don't seem important, what I had for lunch, who I ran into, the kind of stories I'd forget tomorrow unless I told them to you. Lift, I think that's what love does. It makes ordinary things worth remembering. You feel like home without a word, without a reason, without trying. You feel like home in every version of this life. I choose you. I choose you. When it's getting late, you always ask one more walk, like you already know what I'll say. I never even think before I nod. Some answers never change. Something happened on my way today. Nothing big, nothing changed. Still the first name that came to mind was yours. Before I knew, yeah, I saw a little bookstore with the light still on. Thought you'd stop to look inside. I almost reached for my phone before I smiled to myself. Lift, I guess. Love isn't loud. Most days it sounds like I should tell you this. You're the first person I think of, the first voice I still hear. Before the story even starts, you're already part of it. You're the first person I think of, the first voice I still hear. Before the story even starts, you're already part of it. It happens more than I notice. The smallest things find their way back to you, like they already know where they belong. I hope you tell me first too. I hope you tell me first too. You folded up your sleeves the way you always do, then looked around like the whole afternoon had nowhere else to be. I didn't say a word, I just stayed where you were. Someone dropped a handful of coins. They rolled away across the ground. We watched them one by one until the last one stopped spinning. You smiled like it mattered. Lift, I think my favorite days are the ones that never try too hard. Stay until the lights come on. We don't have to hurry home. If today ends right here, I'd still call it a good one. A good one. The air got cooler bit by bit. You rubbed your hands against your coat. I reached for yours without thinking. You held on without asking. Someday we should. You took the seat beside me like you always do. Didn't ask if it was taken, didn't have to. You smiled at something outside. I smiled, looking at you. The rain had stopped a little while ago. Tiny drops stayed on the glass. You drew a little circle with your finger, then forgot you'd done it. Lift. Some people make the world feel bigger. You make it feel closer. If you're here, I don't look around. I already found what I came for. If you're here, the silence sounds like my favorite song. You felt quiet halfway home. I asked what you were thinking. You said nothing really. I believed you and loved that answer. The seat beside me still feels like yours. You know that little street we always take? Nothing ever happens there, and that's what makes it ours. The old cafe is closing now. The owner waves the same. Some things never really change. I'm glad they stayed. I still catch myself turning to your side whenever something small makes me wanna smile. A song from someone's window, a dog asleep in the sun. None of it feels complete until you're part of it. Lift, it's strange how quietly a heart can choose one person again. In every little thing I find you, not because I'm looking to. It's just the way my world has been since you walked in. Even when the day is over and the streets are growing still, I keep saving little stories just to tell you when we meet. You never asked me to, I never planned to. It simply happened over time. I guess you became my favorite place. The train doors closed right as we arrived. You laughed like it didn't matter. We found a bench across the street and watched the morning take its time. Some people hurried past our view. I don't remember any of them. Any of them. You stopped to tie your shoelace twice. I asked if everything was alright. You looked at me and simply said, I like not rushing. So did I. The day kept moving without us. Somehow that felt just fine. If the world can keep its busy pace, I don't mind falling behind with you. You're the best part of every place, not because you changed the view. It's just that nothing feels complete until I see it next to you. Next to you. The sky grew soft, the shop lit up, someone locked the flower stand. You reached for my hand without a word, like it had always belonged there. I held on just the same. The day was good, you made it better. I don't mind taking the slower train if it's you waiting at the end. I don't count how long it takes when every road ends the same. You point out things I'd never see, a painted wall, a crooked tree. I would've walked right past them all if you weren't walking next to me. Lived funny how a day can change without changing at all. If it's you, I'm already home, even when we're still halfway. If it's you, I don't need anywhere else today. When the evening starts to fall, you keep talking nice and slow. I lose a story halfway through, watching how your eyes catch light. I choose this day again. I walked by that little bookstore again, the one with the blue door. I almost went in, then I thought you'd probably make me stay longer, so I kept walking. The There was a guy playing guitar outside the station. He forgot a few chords, nobody seemed to mind. I stayed until he finished, I think you would have stayed too. Lift. I don't really collect memories, I just keep finding things I'd like to show you. You'd like this, that's what I think more than anything these days. Every place I end up quietly turns into you. Turns into you. I got home a little late, made some tea, opened the window. The room was quiet. The first thing I wanted to do was tell you about today. Tomorrow I'll probably find something else. We missed the exit. You noticed first. I looked at the map, then looked at you. You smiled like it wasn't the worst thing that could happen, so I kept driving. The road got smaller, the houses disappeared. There was an old gas station with flowers out front. You said, let's stop for a minute. We bought 2 cold drinks, we didn't need lift. Sometimes the wrong turn feels like the right memory. I don't remember where we were going, I only remember laughing with you. Funny how the destination was never the part I kept. Driving back, the radio faded. You started singing half the words wrong. I didn't fix them, I liked your version better anyway. I'm glad we missed that turn. I found the receipt in my jacket pocket. Coffee, 2 sandwiches. 11:48. I almost threw it away. Then I remembered that was Tuesday. You laughed because I couldn't remember where we parked. You were right, it was the next street over. I said, I knew that. You didn't believe me. Lift. I don't keep a lot of things. Some days just stay. I kept the receipt, not because it means anything. It just reminds me there was an ordinary afternoon I don't want to forget. I found it again, A week later, still folded in the same pocket, I smiled, put it back and left it there. I think I'll keep it a little longer. The light was still on when I got there. I thought you'd already left. You looked up from your book, you're late. You smiled before you said it. I ordered the usual, you changed yours at the last second. I asked why, you said it sounded better. That made sense. Lift, I don't remember big moments, just little ones that stay longer than they should. Some days don't ask to be remembered, they just are, and years from now I'll probably forget what we talked about, not how it felt. We stayed until the chairs started disappearing one by one. Someone was closing, neither of us noticed first. Same time next week, yeah. Same time next week. You said you'd be 5 minutes late. I said, take your time. I wasn't waiting long enough to mind. The cafe was quiet. Someone dropped a spoon. A little kid kept waving at people walking by. You missed that part, I told you later. Lift, funny, the things I remember are never the important ones. I don't remember what I ordered. I don't remember what song was playing. I just remember looking up every time the door opened. You came in a little out of breath. You said, traffic. I nodded like I believed you. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It didn't matter. You were here. That was the whole story. I got home early, earlier than usual. The apartment was quieter than I expected. I stood there for a second, still wearing my shoes. I turned the kettle on, looked out the window. A train passed by. I don't know why, but I wondered what you were doing right then. Lift, it's strange, some people cross your mind. You just stay there. I almost called, not because something happened, nothing did. I just thought you'd probably smile at the same things I did today. The tea got cold, I forgot I even made it. I was halfway through a story. I'd already decided I'd tell you tomorrow. You'll never know how many conversations start long before the phone rings. Maybe I'll call tomorrow. I took the longer road for no real reason. The air felt nice. The traffic wasn't bad. Someone was watering the flowers. Outside a small house, I stopped for a second. There was a dog waiting outside a bakery. He looked up every time the door opened. I wondered who he was waiting for. It's funny how ordinary days leave the deepest marks. I wanted to tell you about all of it, not because it was special, because you would have noticed the same things. By the time I got home, it was getting dark. I put my bag down, made some tea, opened the window, and somehow the day still wasn't over. Maybe that's what changes, not the world, just the person you want to share it with. Tomorrow, I'll probably take the same road. Dad still drives that old blue car. The radio fades every few miles. He taps the dashboard like it'll fix itself. Somehow it almost does. He still takes the longer road home. Says traffic's better. I don't think that's the reason. I think he just likes the drive. Funny, when I was 10, I couldn't wait to grow up. Now I'd give anything for one more ride. I never knew those little drives would turn into the memories I miss the most. Nothing special, just us on the way home. He He asked me about work, I asked him about the garden. We ran out of things to talk about, so we didn't. The quiet was enough. I used to think growing up meant going somewhere. Now I think it means looking back a little more. He dropped me off, waited until I got inside, like he always did. There's only one box left in the hallway. Everything else is already gone. My footsteps sound a little louder now that the walls are almost empty. I opened the bedroom window, the same one I used every summer. The screen still squeaks, I guess. Some things never learn. Funny, I spent years wanting a different place. Now, walking slower through this one. Tomorrow someone else will call this home, but tonight every little corner still remembers my name. I found a pencil mark on the kitchen wall, the one Dad made to measure how tall I'd grown. I smiled, didn't erase it. Maybe growing up isn't leaving. Maybe it's learning how to carry places with you. I turned off the hallway light for the last time. I walked in, the bell above the door sounded the same as always. The table by the window was empty today for some reason. I noticed. I ordered the usual. The girl at the counter almost asked just one, then stopped. Maybe she remembered, maybe not. Funny, places don't change, people do. I still looked at that chair without thinking, like part of me expected you to walk in late again. Outside, someone hurried through the rain inside. The coffee got cold a little faster than usual. I didn't stay long, long enough to finish the coffee, not long enough to forget why I came. Next Tuesday, maybe. I wasn't looking for anything. I just pressed play on an old message. Hey, call me when you can. That was all. 23 seconds. Your voice sounded younger, or maybe I just forgot how quickly time changes the way we remember people. Some things stay alive in the smallest places. I never deleted that voicemail, not because I still needed it, because one ordinary afternoon somehow still lives inside it. The recording ended, the room was quiet again. I didn't play it twice, I didn't need to. I already knew the next line. Funny, we spend so much time trying to remember. Sometimes a voice does it for us. Talk soon. You always said that. You always said we should take more pictures. I always laughed and said, we'll remember. Most of the time we never did. Just another afternoon, another walk, another cup of coffee left without a photograph. There was a little bookstore on the corner. You picked up a novel, read the first page, then quietly put it back. You said, I think I'd rather remember finding it than finishing it. I still think about that. Maybe that's why some days stay with us, not because we try to keep them, because we forgot to. We never took that picture. Still I remember the light coming through the windows, the way your coffee went cold while you were telling me about a dream you'd almost forgotten. Funny, I remember that. Walking back, you stopped to tie your shoe. I kept walking for a few steps before I noticed. You laughed and said you'd lose me in 5 seconds. I said I'd come back. You answered, I know. Sometimes I wonder if memories choose us. Why else would I remember the sound of your keys on that old wooden table, but forget what we had for lunch? We never took that picture. Maybe that's why it still feels alive. Nothing was perfect, nothing was planned. It was only one ordinary afternoon, and somehow it's the one I never left. If I close my eyes, I can still hear the bell above the cafe door. I guess some places never really disappear. The lights were still on, just barely. You looked inside. 5 minutes, I nodded, that was enough. The bell above the door, one quiet ring. Fresh bread, warm air. You picked one loaf, then another, then laughed. No plans, no hurry, just a little more time. We didn't need much, just somewhere still open. One more story, one more smile, one more minute before going home. Outside, the street was almost empty. You carried the paper bag, I carried nothing. Somehow that felt fair. Funny, I can't remember the bread. I remember walking slower. Maybe that's enough. A small store, a quiet night, someone walking beside you without saying much. The sign turned off. We kept walking. You always open the window, even when it's cold outside. You say the room feels different when the morning air comes in. I never really noticed until I started missing it on the days you're not around. We never talk about big things, mostly what to cook tonight, or whether we should take a walk before it gets too dark. Somehow those little conversations stay with me the longest, long after the day is gone. Maybe love isn't something you suddenly find. Maybe it grows quietly between ordinary days. I think about you in the smallest moments, not because I have to, because I always do. Like hearing your favorite song from another room, or seeing 2 cups on the kitchen shelf. This afternoon, I caught myself smiling at something you would have laughed about. It wasn't even funny until I imagined you standing there, laughing first. One day, we'll probably forget what month it was or where we were going, but I don't think I'll ever forget how easy it felt to be myself with you. I think about you more than I notice, like breathing or looking out the window. Not Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just a life that feels a little warmer because you're in it. The window's open again, I left it that way. We found an old photo at the bottom of a drawer. The colors had faded, but your smile hadn't changed. You laughed and said, "I don't remember this," I said. "I think I do." The corner was folded, someone wrote the date in handwriting neither of us could read. You held it closer to the window light, like maybe the picture knew. It's funny how a blurry photograph can remember more than we do. Maybe that's enough, we don't need every detail. Just one afternoon, still finding us every time we look again. You pointed at my old jacket. I asked, did I really wear that? You couldn't stop laughing for a while. I don't think I've ever liked that picture more. Years keep moving quietly, but somehow paper waits patiently for someone to remember. Maybe that's enough, a faded picture, a quiet room, two people looking back without wishing they could stay. You put it back exactly where we found it.